What's up guys, and welcome to round number 6 of the F1 Legends career mode. We are here today for our home race, and many drivers' home races in fact, at the British Grand Prix at Silverstone, of course. The rain is looking as if it may stay away this weekend, surprisingly. But yeah, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down below. You know what, just pause the video now and comment down below who you are supporting for this race and who you think is going to win it. There are many teams in with a shout, and there are going to be a few shocks along the way. I hope you guys do enjoy this race. Do leave a like if you're happy to see it back. But without further ado now, let's get in to qualifying. So, as I said, the rain had stayed away and it was sunny here for qualifying at Silverstone. And getting into the top 10, this time Michael Schumacher just scraped in P10, but it was a far from ideal session for Ferrari, with Niki Lauda not making it into the top 10 either. But Schumacher will be joined on the 5th row of the grid alongside Ayrton Senna, who will start in P9 for McLaren Honda, who didn't have the greatest qualifying of all, Hakkinen also missing out on the top 10. The 4th row of the grid sees a home favourite, Jackie Stewart, lining up in his Tyrrell in P8, the first time that he's managed to get into the top 10 this season, and he'll line up alongside Juan Manuel Fangio in the Mercedes car, who start from 7th. The 3rd row of the grid is an all-British row, led by the Williams of Nigel Mansell in P5, and I will line up alongside him in P6, looking for a race victory at home. Lewis Hamilton will line up in P4, making it 3 British drivers in the row from P4 down to P6, and he's joined by my teammate in P3, Sebastian Vettel, not quite making it onto the front row. But this time it was a front row lockout for the Lotus team, one of the most iconic teams in British Formula 1 history, and Jim Clark just missed out on pole position, and he will start in P2, just behind his teammate Emerson Fittipaldi, who's had a mixed season with a few good results thrown in there, but he is looking to banish all the demons and try and take his first victory of the season on Sunday. So there you can see the full grid for the race. There was just a 1/10 of a second separating the 2 Lotus drivers, but what's notable is the gap between those 2 and the rest of the field. They're not expected to have a race pace that's 4/10 of a second quicker than everyone else, but they are still looking strong for the race. There you can see us in P6, 3 places behind our teammate once again, which is a little bit disappointing. But as we go into the back half of the grid, Jenson Button will be disappointed with P18, and it's also another difficult session for the Renaults, who seem to have lost pace from Austria. So here we go then, it is time for the race at the British Grand Prix, and it's a little bit overcast, but I think the rain should be staying away for today. I believe the sun is meant to be coming out sort of around about halfway through the race, but there you can see the weather report is overcast, 19 degrees, pretty much a typical summer's day here in the UK. As I look outside now, that is pretty much what is happening. But yeah, there you can see a little bit disappointing qualifying, you could say, for us, but we still do have quite a big lead at the top of the drivers' standings, and there you can see we actually do have a 22-point lead over Niki Lauda at the top. So yeah, we're just looking today to score some good points and try and consolidate that lead at the top. But yeah, as we look further down the field, there's only 2 drivers that have gone on the prime tyres, one of which is Niki Lauda. So he qualified in 13th place, I believe. Another disappointing qualifying, but there you can see the 2 Lotus cars that locked out the front row. So very, very good for them. We're just going to be looking to sort of keep it safe in the first lap or 2. The Williams of Mansell, very, very good from him. So he'll be looking to score some good points in what's been a pretty difficult season for the Brit. But there we go, the Lotus drivers line up on the grid, followed by the rest of the 20 cars on the start line here at Silverstone, readying up now. Ready for the 5 red lights, and here they come, coming on to start the British Grand Prix. We have 5 lights, and away we go. They were on for quite a bit there, but Lewis Hamilton gets a very poor start, already passed by Mansell into turn 1, and Jackie Stewart comes down the inside and is up already into P5. What a start from the Scotsman, and he's up into P4. Brilliant stuff there, but it's been an awful start from Lewis Hamilton. The 5 times winner around this circuit is passed by myself as well, and there's a little bit of a ding-dong between Juan Manuel Fangio and Ayrton Senna just behind, but there we can see we have, well, we're safe through the first half of the lap. But there, Jim Clark, you can see, has actually got up into the lead for Lotus, so he has passed his teammate into the first corner. But now we are eyeing up a move on Nigel Mansell as we come through Luffield and Woodcut on the run down to the National Pit Straight. So we're staying in the slipstream of the Williams driver. Are we going to go to the inside or the outside? It's looking like the inside as we go into Copse, as we shift down to 7th gear. It's a lovely move down the inside, keeping it within the track limits. And that is a beautiful move up into P5. So Jackie Stewart, what a first lap it's been from him. And we actually end up gaining a net 1 position, but we've passed Mansell and Hamilton that have been passed by the Flying Scotsman. And as we go now on to the Hangar Straight, he's making a move to the inside to try and get past our teammate Sebastian Vettel. Is he going to be able to do it? I don't think he is, but he's not giving up on it. Vettel keeps it round the outside, and he stays in P3, but Stewart tries to brake later and take the inside line, but he's covered off by Sebastian Vettel, and now under pressure from myself for that P4. But yeah, there you can see Jim Clark setting the fastest lap of the race, meaning he has got up into P1. And we're going to take a look at the replay of his start. Just look at how much better traction he got compared to his teammate Fittipaldi, who will be disappointed that he is not leading this Grand Prix. But Fittipaldi there just sort of sticks behind him. He knows that he's going to get more opportunities as this race goes on. And that's the same story with Jackie Stewart here on lap 2. So just 1 lap later, he goes to the inside once again, and this time he has actually passed my teammate. And Vettel goes wide, cuts back inside, and he has taken a section of my front wing off, and he has disobeyed the #1 rule in Formula 1. It's like Sunday all over again. The Red Bulls taking each other out, and we are going to have to make an unscheduled pit stop as we go now into the pit lane. And this is very, very slower. It feels very slow. We're going 37 miles an hour whilst, you know, this circuit has an average speed of nearly 150 miles an hour. But we are actually going to fit the hard tyres as we replace the front wing. You know, at this point, I'm thinking we're just going to try and do a long stint and go long into this race. Now, the recommended strategy is, I believe, a 2-stop, which was soft, medium, hard. So I thought, you know what, I'll get this hard tyre out of the way and, you know, try and close up on as many drivers as possible. You can just look on the mini-map there. Pretty much everyone is following each other. So this was a good point to fit these hard tyres, you know, whilst everyone else was getting stuck in traffic, to try and, you know, bang a few laps in. And to be honest, the tyres didn't feel too bad on this stint at all. But, yeah, as you can see, getting nice turn in there. But as we go later on into lap 3, through Luffield, we've got a safety car deployed. And that could not have been a worse time for me. And you know what, I've just come in to the pit lane and everyone else gets effectively a free pit stop. We can see what triggered it there as we see a spinning Nelson Piquet. But as we ride now on board with Mario Andretti, you can see that there was a Scheckter, I think, slow through there. And then I don't know what Andretti's doing. He just sort of drives into Piquet. And I'd be very surprised if he didn't get a penalty for that. But now we can see behind the safety car on lap 4, everybody had pretty much a free pit stop. But Jim Clark, who is in the lead, didn't elect to take that pit stop. You can see he's still on the soft tyres. And yeah, he's followed by a few cars, including the 2 McLaren Hondas, who are sort of, you know, tag teaming each other. And he's followed by Fangio, Prost, who's in P6. He's had a very good start, but I don't believe he has stopped. Brabham has been put right back into play. Obviously, he started on the mediums, as did Niki Lauda. Then Andretti is still in P9 and Scheckter in P10. So, yeah, pretty interesting to see all those drivers there. But then you can see Jim Clark peels off into the pit lane. So that is going to be very difficult for him. But he's actually been speeding in the pit lane, and it's going to be a penalty. So has that ruined the Scotsman's race? And that is double whammy for Clark. He didn't take advantage of the free pit stop. I believe he was actually past the pit lane, and you can see a lot of other drivers that are doing exactly the same, and it looks like it's Nigel Mansell leading the way. I'm not sure whether he has actually come in for a pit stop yet. I don't believe he has, because he is still on the soft tyres as well. As we go on to lap 7, he is followed by one of the McLaren Hondas. I believe it is actually Mika Hakkinen. Yes, it is. So it was Senna that came into the pit lane, which means that Jack Brabham has actually got the effective lead of this race, but he is being chased by Niki Lauda. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Lauda got past pretty quickly, but you can see on the same lap, pretty much live as we cut to ourselves, and we have lost the position to PK. We are in a P12 at the moment, but these hard tyres, as everyone else I believe is actually pitted for the soft tyres. So yeah, Mansell may have actually made his first pit stop and just gone onto the softs. So yeah, interesting strategy there from everyone, going straight onto the soft tyres. They must be doing a 3-stopper, but obviously when we pitted, we didn't know the circumstances. Obviously the safety car came out just afterwards, but you know what, we're just going to hang behind PK. Obviously he lost his front wing, so it's actually been pretty good for him. You know, he's managed to make a free pit stop pretty much and come out in P11. So, yeah, we're trying to hunt him down. Obviously, that Brabham isn't the quickest car. I believe they're definitely towards the lower end of the constructors' standings. So, as we go through Maggots and Beckett's, the aerodynamic package that we've got on this Red Bull is coming into effect. There's no DRS active at the moment, but we're going to pull to the inside and try and get past PK, and we do manage to do so up into P11 on lap 7 as we take this beautiful camera angle on the nose cone. And there's a big group of cars in front of us. Sort of at the tail of it is Giuseppe Farina, and Niki Lauda has in fact gone into the lead of this race. So Mansell as well with a strategic error, but PK now trying to go down the inside of us. We managed to cover him off as we go through the first corner, but yeah, and breaking down into the village section. I believe DRS is now active on this lap. I could be wrong, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see whether PK is going to try and make a move, because these hard tyres, especially as we go through the village section, it's just so difficult to get any sort of warm-up. And there we go, we see down the inside, there is no DRS active in fact, but nonetheless, PK does manage to go down the inside. We try and go around the outside, which then turns to the inside as we go into Luffield. But PK is now cut underneath, and is he going to be able to make a move through Woodcut and down towards Copse as we try and cover him off? And then there's a Brawn in the background, I believe it's Jenson Button, and he is also on the soft tyres, so we're going to be under attack from both of those behind. But as we cut just in front, you can see our teammate is now behind Jackie Stewart in the Tyrrell, and oh, his engine is gone! Vettel's engine is gone, and that is the end of his race. Disaster for the Red Bull team, and there you can see he's pulled over on the right hand side and under yellow flags, meaning that PK can't get past us, and that is a disaster for the Red Bull team. And we are going to be pretty concerned with that, you know, because there's a possibility that our engine might be in fact going. And yeah, end of lap 8, everyone is in the pit lane now. There is another big rush, because obviously a lot of drivers went onto the soft tyres, which I said at the time was a bit of a baffling decision. So yeah, they may have had their initial burst of speed, but now that is over and we are up into P3 as a result. So Emerson Fittipaldi was pretty wise to go onto those hard tyres too, but now with the DRS active, PK is trying to go down the inside with his set of soft tyres, but he can't quite take advantage, and now he comes into the pit lane at the end of lap 9. So he's had his fun, and that is now over for the meanwhile. But yeah, we are in P3. We're doing alright at the moment, but as we take a look in front of us, it's currently Michael Schumacher leading the way in P1 on the medium tyres. Emerson Fittipaldi is in P2, same strategy as myself on the hard tyres. So, yeah, we follow him not too far behind, actually, less than 5 seconds, so not doing too badly. Then it's Nigel Mansell, who yeah, made his first pit stop onto the medium tyres. Same with Niki Lauda, who's in P5, obviously started quite a way down the grid, followed by Mika Hakkinen and his teammate Ayrton Senna in P7. Then it's Jack Brabham in his own car in P8, followed by Alain Prost with another good result from Renault in P9. But we're not even at half race distance yet, and coming into the pit lane now is Michael Schumacher, so he's going to relinquish quite a few positions. But yeah, our tyre wear isn't too good at the moment on lap 14, but obviously we have been on these tyres for nearly half the Grand Prix now. And we were closing in on Emerson Fittipaldi, but it wasn't quite enough, and now he takes this opportunity to slow down into the pit lane. And unlike his teammate, he wasn't speeding in the pit lane, so he comes out in P14 and heads quite a big train of cars. So yeah, he's called that pretty nicely. We're just going to take a look behind that train now. So it's Jody Scheckter who's just behind him in P15. And at the back of that train is Nelson Piquet, who was obviously fighting with myself. So we're just going to take a look at this train of cars at the moment. No one goes for a move, but Nelson Piquet, who has just had an awful afternoon. This section of track is not his favourite whatsoever. He had his front wing taken off through woodcut, and now his engine has failed towards Brooklands, and he pulls over to the side of the road. That's his race over, and that's the safety car obviously out. So this time it sort of works in our favour to an extent. So we're going to come in now, sort of make a free pit stop and go on to the medium tyres. But the medium tyres, I believe, are compulsory, so you have to run them at some point during the race. But they're not going to take us to the end of the race. So I was sort of hoping to do a few more laps on those hard tyres, but the safety car has completely scuppered that. And now as we are running behind the safety car, Schumacher is leading the way from myself and Lauda. And then lurking behind, you've got Emerson Fittipaldi still on those hard tyres, followed by Senna and then Brabham, and then Jim Clark, who's actually got himself back into contention. The safety cars very much helped him out, and just behind him is Nigel Mansell. Followed by one of the Mercedes, that is Lewis Hamilton, who just hasn't had a good race at all, but Alain Prost just behind him, still in with a shout of points. But now, end of lap 18, the safety car's coming in, Schumacher's made a burst for it, and he's sort of caught us unawares. Obviously, both of us on the medium tyres, Lauda behind on the hards, so we're hoping to try and sort of pull a gap to Niki Lauda. But as we go green now at the end of lap 18, start of lap 19, Lauda is going to take a look at us down the inside, showing the true pace of the Ferrari during this race. But I don't believe he's going to be able to pull it off. No, he doesn't. And he's now under attack from the Lotus of Emerson Fittipaldi. So, yeah, we take sort of a lone P2. There's quite a big gap already up to Schumacher in front, considering we've only just restarted. But we are not under pressure anymore from Niki Lauda. Probably helps that he's on those hard tyres. But now on lap 19, showing that real pace of the Ferrari, and the hard tyres are not hampering him whatsoever. So Lauda goes down the inside. We're going to try and hold it around the outside, which does just about work. But as we go into the final complex of corners towards Club, we just about hold it very late on the brakes there. And holding P2 for the meantime. But, oh, we lose it on the exit there. And nearly coming under attack from Lauda into turn 1 as we approach lap 20. But towards the end of lap 21, you can see Juan Manuel Fangio is out of the race. But I believe he's parked it in a decent position. But less about that and more about the fact that Niki Lauda has once again passed us. We thought about passing him, but then we thought better of it and came into the pit lane. So got to get it slowed down. We've already seen one penalty today. But there you can see it is, yeah, just in front of us as well. Michael Schumacher has actually come into the pit lane. So that is an interesting one. And it looks as if we're both going to be running the soft tyres to the end. So he gets out just in front of us and has actually pulled about a 4 or 5 second gap up front. So it's going to be interesting to see what other drivers make the pit stop. So just like us, the safety car phase just fell at exactly the wrong time for Schumacher. So yeah, it's going to be very hard for us. As you can see, we're down in P6, and I believe that is as we see around the final corner, Ayrton Senna, that's about to come P7. So he's on the hard tyres. Now Lewis Hamilton also coming round, but we actually get in between those two. So we are out in P7. Schumacher's out in P5, so it doesn't look like either of us are going to win this race, providing that the front runners don't come in for another pit stop. But now our job is to try and get ahead of Ayrton Senna and take P6 in this race. So it's not looking too good considering where we were just a couple of laps ago. And now we can see Lewis Hamilton trying to take a look at us as our tyres are still coming up to temperature. But we do manage to hold P7 and are looking at Senna's P6 for the meantime. So towards the end of lap 22, obviously DRS is enabled after the safety car phase now. But we're going to take a look maybe down the inside of Ayrton Senna coming into into the following section of the final section of corners, and we managed to do so. Beautiful move there. Up into P6 as the sky above is looking a little bit gloomy now with just 4 laps to go, but it does look as if that rain is going to hold off as we come through the final corner. Senna very, very close to us, even on those hard tyres, so he's going to take a look to the inside. Is he going to be able to make the move? No, he isn't. He thinks better of it, and beautiful camera view there. As we come towards the village section, we managed to get it stopped pretty nicely and hold that P6 for the meantime. And yeah, we pretty much managed to hold it ahead of them. But as you can see, the start of lap 24, Niki Lauda actually comes into the pit lane with just 3 laps to go. And this is another baffling pit stop. Maybe like the real-life Grand Prix, Ferrari were concerned that his tyres were going to explode. But, yeah, they take the decision to bring him out of the pits. And it's going to be interesting to see where he actually comes out in this race. As we see him come out of the pit lane now, and we are still coming through turn 1, so he's ahead of us in P5. But here you can see the battle for the lead. We've got Jim Clark leading this race, so he has pulled a strategic masterclass, but his teammate on the fresher hard tyres is going to go down the inside, as is Jody Scheckter, who has put himself right into contention here, as Jim Clark trying to look down the inside of Scheckter. Is he going to be able to hold it, or is Scheckter going to take P2? No, this time Jim Clark has just about got ahead, but Scheckter has the inside into the final corner, side by side between the Tyrrell and Lotus cars. But the big news is that Emerson Fittipaldi now has the lead of this British Grand Prix. Just like in the 70s, it is a big battle for the lead, and it sees Emerson Fittipaldi prevail by the looks of things. But later on lap 24, Jim Clark is going to go for another move down the inside of Scheckter, whose teammate Stewart just seems to have disappeared completely. So it's Scheckter for the Tyrrell team who has pulled off the strategy the best. And as we come now towards the end of lap 26, Scheckter's going to go for the lead. It's the final lap of the Grand Prix, but he thinks better of it. And as we come now towards Club, it is going to be Emerson Fittipaldi that is going to take his first victory of the series. He comes through the final corner to take victory here at Silverstone. Emerson Fittipaldi wins for Lotus. P1 for him, P2 for Jody Scheckter, who will not be disappointed, and Jim Clark taking P3 after his penalty. And P4 and P5 went to the Ferrari cars, meaning they've significantly outscored the Red Bull team this afternoon, but we come home for P6 in a very, very difficult race. We made the best of a bad situation, I think. Being screwed over by both safety cars and still managing to take P6. But there you can see the final race results. I've pretty much covered the top 6 so far. So it was the 2-stop was the way to go. Fittipaldi, Scheckter and Clark managed to pull that off. So, yeah, intriguing to see Fittipaldi's strategy actually work. Even though he... and Jim Clark as well. But obviously he had to do a drive-through penalty. So, yeah, disappointing for him. 3 DNFs this afternoon. Vettel, Piquet and Fangio. With very, very disappointing for Jenson Button there, down in P17. But now as we take a look at the drivers' standings, we still have a 20-point lead as we go into the final 4 rounds. And Emerson Fittipaldi, with those 25 points, has leapt up into P3 in the championship. Schumacher as well, some good points for him, up into P4. Alonso just about clinging on to the top 10, as is my teammate who's had a disappointing few rounds. He's down in P9. But there you can see the constructors. Red Bull still leading the way, and a big race for Lotus, which saw them take 40 points. So go from 29 all the way up to 69 points. They're now in P4. But guys, that just about caps off this British Grand Prix. Well, thanks for joining me once again for this Legends career. This just been going down fantastically. So, yeah, I'll catch you guys in my next video. Do take care, but until then, bye-bye.